I gave him everything. And he gave me Jasmine. Those were the words that shattered the internet just hours ago. Words that came straight from Rasheeda's trembling lips in an emotional whirlwind of pain, betrayal, and heartbreak. The internet has exploded. Fans are reeling, and social media is on fire. The woman we once knew as the composed, unshakable queen of love and hip-hop has finally broken down. Not in a fight scene, not on a reunion stage, but in a raw, unscripted moment that's left the entire reality TV world questioning everything. What really happened between Rasheeda and Kirk? Why is Jasmine, yes, that Jasmine, suddenly back in the picture after years of silence? And how did this one named Jasmine undo decades of loyalty, love, and forgiveness in just one breath? Sources close to the couple are saying this wasn't just a slip-up. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a calculated betrayal, one that's been brewing beneath the surface, quietly poisoning their marriage, while Rasheeda kept a brave face for the cameras. Now, the dam has finally burst. And what's come flooding out is a torrent of pain, secrets, and a truth so explosive it's threatening to destroy the empire they built together. In this exclusive exposé, we're breaking everything down. The secret text messages, the late-night phone calls, the suspicious trips, the confessions caught on mic when they thought no one was recording. We're talking about the moment Rasheeda discovered the unthinkable, and how it all ties back to Jasmine, the one woman who tore their world apart once before. But this time, there's no reunion episode to wrap it up with hugs and makeup. This time, it's real. And if you thought the first betrayal was wild, wait till you hear what Rasheeda found on his phone last week. Grab your tea, because you're about to need a bucket of it. This isn't just another love and hip-hop scandal. This is Rasheeda's most heartbreaking confession yet. And trust us, you won't see the ending coming. She sat in that oversized velvet chair like a woman who had been holding her breath for years. Her nails tapped against the glass of water untouched on the side table, her eyes glossy but refusing to break. I gave him everything, she said again, slower this time, like maybe if she repeated it enough, the pain would make more sense. Everything, my youth, my loyalty, my body, my name. Rasheeda's voice didn't crack, it shattered. And somewhere behind the scenes, producers were holding their breath too. Because this wasn't the kind of drama they could script. This was real. It had been building for months, possibly years, and now the silence was finally giving birth to a truth no one was ready for. Because while the world thought Rasheeda and Kirk had made it, had moved past the Jasmine scandal, and stood taller for it, what no one saw was the rot still spreading under the surface. Rasheeda had been doing what she always did, covering pain with power, smiling through betrayal, and wearing grace-like armor. But something snapped the day she found that picture, the one she was never supposed to see, the one that changed everything. It was a random Tuesday. Kirk had gone out to clear his head, which lately had become code for disappearing for hours with his phone on Do Not Disturb. Rasheeda hadn't said much. She had stopped arguing weeks ago. It was easier to let him think she didn't care anymore. But something in her gut pulled her toward that phone when he left it behind in a rush. Maybe it was divine timing. Maybe it was woman's intuition. Or maybe she already knew. Her hands moved faster than her heart could keep up. She unlocked it, same code, same password, like he wanted her to find it. Maybe deep down, he wanted to be caught, and there it was. Not just a message, not just a name, but her, Jasmine, in a photo that screamed intimacy, the kind that leaves no room for deniability. She wasn't in the background. She was the background, a bed, a smile, a time stamp. 2 weeks ago, Rasheeda didn't scream. She didn't cry. She took a breath so deep it felt like drowning. And then she sat down, alone in their mansion, the one they built with love and pain layered into the drywall, and she watched the memories play like a horror movie. Every time she forgave him. Every time she made excuses. Every time she thought her love could fix the parts of him that didn't want to be fixed. And suddenly it all felt stupid. She remembered Jasmine, the drama, the DNA tests, the tears on set, the public humiliation, and she remembered forgiving him because he swore on their children's names that he had learned. That he had changed. That Jasmine was a chapter, closed. But now, she wasn't just a chapter, she was the sequel. Later that night, Kirk came home like nothing had happened. Rasheeda was sitting on the couch, waiting. Phone in hand. No makeup, no cameras. Just the truth between them, like a loaded gun on the coffee table. You saw it? He asked, barely above a whisper. Not denying, Not apologizing, just confirming what they both knew. The lie was dead now. And so was something inside her. Why her? Rasheeda asked. After all these years. Why her again? Kirk didn't answer right away. His face twisted like a man who knew. There was no answer that wouldn't make him look like a monster. It wasn't supposed to happen, he finally said. It just did. Those 3 words, it just did, cracked something in her she hadn't even realized was still intact. It just did, she repeated, her voice trembling with disbelief. You just fell into the same bed with the same woman who almost destroyed our family. You just started sneaking around again after all the therapy, all the talks, all the promises. You just disrespected everything I rebuilt from the ashes you left me in. He tried to speak, but she stood up. Don't lie. Don't say you're sorry. I'm done collecting apologies like souvenirs from hell. What followed was a silence thicker than any fight they'd ever had. Kirk sat down across from her, elbows on knees, eyes down. It's not like that, Rasheeda, but it was, and they both knew it. Do you love her? She asked. The question hung in the air like smoke. Kirk didn't answer. And in that moment, his silence was louder than any confession. She felt the sting of it in her bones. You don't have to say it, she whispered. Your silence told me everything. That night, Rasheeda packed a bag. Not to leave him, not yet, but to leave the house. The one filled with broken dreams and ghosted promises. She stayed with Candy that week. Candy, who had been through her own wars, knew better than to say I told you so. Instead, she held her friend through sobs that sounded like they came from a soul cracking in half. I was ride or die, Rasheeda wept. I gave him everything. My best years. My last chances. My whole damn heart. Candy didn't speak. She just let her cry. Because what do you say to a woman who stayed, fought, healed, only to be broken again by the same damn ghost? Meanwhile, social media was catching wind of the unraveling. Fans noticed Rasheeda wasn't posting photos with Kirk anymore. Her captions grew colder, more cryptic. Then came the bombshell tweet. Giving someone everything doesn't mean they'll give it back. Fans knew. They started digging, finding old Jasmine posts, pulling up Kirk's recent IG likes. And when someone leaked a blurry photo of Kirk and Jasmine at a hookah lounge in Atlanta, everything exploded. Fans were shocked. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was public now. Comment sections turned into war zones. How could he do this to Rasheeda again? This man is allergic to loyalty. Jasmine, again. And while Rasheeda stayed mostly silent, one thing was clear. This wasn't just drama. This was war. A war for her dignity. For her peace. For the part of herself that still wanted to believe in love. But this time, she wasn't just fighting for her marriage, she was fighting to feel whole again. She finally returned home after 6 days. Not because she forgave him, but because her boys needed her. Because she still had a business to run. A life to live. But the energy in that house was different now. Cold, hollow, like love had packed its bags and left before she ever did. That's when the second betrayal came. And it made the first look like child's play. Rasheeda hadn't even unpacked. Yet when the second wave hit, it wasn't a photo this time. It wasn't even a message. It was a voice. A voicemail accidentally sent to her phone, or so she thought. The number was blocked, the audio grainy, but the voice was unmistakable. It was Jasmine. He's with her right now, the message began, low and laced with venom. But he told me he loves me. He says she's just the image, I'm the one. He can be real with. Rasheeda's stomach turned. Her first instinct was to delete it, pretend it didn't exist. And keep breathing like the air hadn't just been sucked out of the room. But she listened again. And again. Each time the words hit harder. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a ghost from the past. This was deliberate. Jasmine had sent that message on purpose. She wanted Rasheeda to hear it. And suddenly, Rasheeda realized she wasn't just being cheated on, she was being played. With shaking hands, Rasheeda stormed into the kitchen where Kirk was quietly fixing himself a drink. As if their marriage wasn't unraveling in real time. You still in contact with her? She asked, voice tight with rage. Kirk froze. What? Don't play dumb, Kirk, answer me. Is she calling you? Are you seeing her behind my back again? He looked away. It's not like that. Then what is it like? She screamed, slamming her phone down and playing the voicemail loud enough to shake the walls. Jasmine's words spilled into the room like poison. And Kirk, for the first time, looked afraid. You think this is a game? Rasheeda asked, Tears in her eyes, but fury in her voice. You think this is some side chick Olympics? That I'm just the woman who runs your errands and takes your bullets while you're out here building emotional castles with the same woman who spit on our vows? Kirk didn't deny it. He didn't defend it. He just said the one thing that hurt the most: it's complicated. Rasheeda stepped back like he'd slapped her. No, Kirk. It's actually very simple. You lied. You cheated. Again. And now the whole world gets to watch me unravel while she sends voicemails like trophies. At that point, the line between personal and public collapsed. Rasheeda posted a photo to Instagram, a black screen, with the caption, "Don't confuse loyalty with stupidity. I'm not the one." Fans lost it. Celebrities chimed in. Tamar Braxton commented, "Say that." Even Cardi B reposted the quote with a fire emoji. Everyone knew the queen was done staying silent. Backstage at a Loved and Hip Hop taping, even production was caught off guard. Mona Scott Young reportedly pulled Rasheeda aside and asked if she wanted to delay filming. No, Rasheeda said, stone-faced, "I want it on camera. All of it." And that's when things really got messy. Because Jasmine, hearing the buzz, decided she wanted in too. The next day, Jasmine went live on Instagram. Hair flawless, nails on point, voice laced with sugar and shade. "I'm not the villain," she said to her 200K followers. "People don't know the real story. They see Rasheeda and think she's the victim, but Kirk's been telling me he's unhappy for years." The comments were a war zone. "You a homewrecker. Girl, bye. Why speak now?" But Jasmine didn't flinch. She showed screenshots, dates, messages, hotel bookings, photos, and then the bomb. A clip of Kirk talking about Rasheeda. "She's more like a business partner now. There's no passion." When Rasheeda saw that clip, she went silent. Not angry, not crying, just quiet. She stared at the screen for almost an hour. Candy later said she looked like someone who had aged 10 years and 10 minutes. "That's what I am to him." She finally whispered. A business partner. Back at home, the tension was unbearable. Rasheeda wasn't sleeping. She barely ate. Their kids knew something was wrong. Kai asked her, "Mom, are you and Dad breaking up?" She didn't have an answer, because how do you explain to your child that the man you've defended for years has been slowly tearing you apart, piece by piece, while smiling in family portraits? And then, as if the emotional devastation wasn't enough, came the financial betrayal. Rasheeda's assistant flagged a suspicious transaction. "Did you approve this $12,000 wire?" No, it had been sent to a consulting firm, but digging deeper revealed the truth. Jasmine's name was tied to the company. Kirk had wired money. Whether it was hush money, support, or something else, it was money from their shared account. Money from her business. Rasheeda confronted him immediately. "Are you funding her now?" she asked, voice low with fury. "Using my brand, my work, to pay your mistress?" Kirk had no answer. He just stared at the ground like a schoolboy caught stealing. That night, Rasheeda made a decision. She called her lawyer. "I want options," she said. "Not just divorce. I want to protect everything I built," because now it wasn't just about heartbreak, it was about survival. About keeping her empire from crumbling under the weight of one man's recklessness. But before she could take the next step, there was one more twist. One that none of us saw coming. Jasmine showed up, not at a club, not on social media, but at pressed Rasheeda's store. In the middle of the day, in front of staff, in front of customers. Security footage caught the whole thing. Jasmine walked in, head high, holding a manila envelope. "Tell Rasheeda I came to deliver the truth," she said. The staff froze. One of them called Rasheeda. "Immediately, you need to come here. Now." And just like that, the war that started with whispers turned into an all-out collision. What was inside the envelope would blow the whole story wide open. The ride from Rasheeda's home to Priest was only 13 minutes, but to her, it felt like 13 hours, every second swelling with heat, shame, and a fury so dense it made her vision blur. She didn't even bring her assistant. Didn't call Kirk. Didn't tell security to stop Jasmine. No. This time, she wanted to face the storm head-on. She wanted to look the chaos in the eye and dare it to blink first. When she walked through the front doors of her own store, her empire, the space went silent. Employees stepped back. Shoppers froze, and there she was, Jasmine, standing by the window display like she owned the place, envelope in hand, smirking like she'd already won. Rasheeda didn't say a word at first, just walked slowly, heels echoing across the hardwood floor, and stopped inches from the woman who had haunted Her life twice now. You've got 30 seconds, she said, arms crossed, voice low. Make it count. Jasmine handed her the envelope. I came to tell you something before you hear it from someone else, she said, trying to sound soft, but the smugness underneath couldn't be hidden. This ain't about being messy. It's about being real. Rasheeda ripped the envelope open without breaking eye contact. Inside were medical papers. A pregnancy confirmation. Ultrasound images. A due date. Jasmine's name. And at the bottom, scribbled like a scar, the name of the alleged father, Kirk Frost. The room tilted. Everything slowed. Even her breath forgot what it was supposed to do. Jasmine tilted her head. I'm not asking for anything. But you deserve to know. You've always deserved the truth. For a moment, Rasheeda didn't move. Didn't speak. Jess stared down at the paper, heart pounding so loudly she couldn't hear anything else. Not the gasps. Not the phone's recording. Not the whispers spreading like fire. All she could hear was her own silence, cracking open, breaking loose, and spilling every ounce of grief she'd been swallowing since this mess started. She handed the envelope back. You can keep this, she said coldly. Because whether it's true or not, I'm done playing the fool in your circus. Jasmine shrugged. I wasn't trying to start a fight. Then why show up here? Why my store? Rasheeda snapped. Why humiliate me in my own kingdom? Jasmine paused. Because you're the only one still pretending you're the queen. Those words lit something in Rasheeda that no betrayal ever had, not even the first affair. Get out, she said, voice tight with rage. Before I stop being civil. Jasmine smirked, turned, and walked out, cameras clicking, voices buzzing. The internet already salivating over what was now being dubbed the second baby scandal. That night, Rasheeda didn't sleep. She didn't eat, she burned. Alone in her room, blinds drawn, every light off but the glow of her laptop screen. She watched the footage from pressed over and over. The moment Jasmine handed her that envelope, the smirk, the papers, the storm she had walked into like she owned it, and then she saw something she hadn't noticed before, Jasmine looking straight into the store's camera and smiling. Like she knew this would go viral. Like she wanted it to. The next morning, Rasheeda made a choice. She would no longer be the victim in this narrative. If Jasmine wanted war, she would get it. But not with fists, not with screaming matches or slaps in a reunion trailer. Rasheeda would fight with power, with precision, with truth. So she called her lawyer again. I want to know every asset Kirk has touched in the last 6 months. I want an audit. I want a forensic accountant. And I want full custody of the brand we built because he didn't build this. I did. She also sat down with producers. You want ratings? She asked, looking directly at Mona Scott-Young. I'm giving you ratings. But I want final cut. And I want the right to speak without being edited. I'm done protecting a man who's never protected me. Mona nodded. Say less. And with that, the next season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta became the most anticipated in years. Meanwhile, Kirk stayed eerily silent. No statements. No interviews, no appearances. Just paparazzi photos of him looking tired, alone, walking through Atlanta with a hoodie pulled low and guilt wrapped around him like a second skin. Friends close to him said he was embarrassed, broken, and regretful. But Rasheeda didn't want apologies anymore. She wanted accountability. Then came the moment fans didn't expect. Rasheeda went live. No glam team, no music, just her, barefaced, tired, but fierce. I'm not here to play the victim, she said. But I'm not gonna let another woman walk into my space and define me, either. I've been quiet too long. I let too much slide. And now y'all seeing the cracks. But this ain't the end of me. This is the beginning. Over 200,000 people tuned in. The comments poured in support, heartbreak, rage. We ride for you, Queen. You held it down too long. He didn't deserve you then, and he sure don't now. But the drama wasn't over. Just days after her live video, Rasheeda received a letter, hand-delivered. It was from Kirk. Not a text, not a call. A letter, old school. Inside was a 5-page handwritten apology. Not excuses, not manipulation, but real remorse. Or at least, it looked real. I don't expect you to forgive me, it read. But I need you to know I never stopped loving you, even when I didn't act like it. Jasmine was a mistake, I repeated. That's on me. You were always the one. You still are. But I broke us. I know that now. Rasheeda didn't cry. She didn't tear the letter up. She placed it in a box with all the other letters. The cards. The receipts, the pictures, a box labeled lessons. Because that's what this was now. Not a love story, not a tragedy, a lesson. In resilience. In strength. In how far a woman can bend before she finally says, no more. But just when fans thought things had reached their emotional peak, Rasheeda made one more reveal. Something no one saw coming. On the season finale of Love and Hip Hop, cameras followed her to a lawyer's office. She sat down, took a deep breath, and said 6 words that silenced the room. I want to open a case, the producer asked. A case? Rasheeda nodded. Paternity. And fraud. I need to know how deep this goes. The final frame. Her signing the paperwork. A slow zoom. On her face. Not broken. Not bitter. Unshakable. Because if you thought Rasheeda was done, you were dead wrong. The weeks that followed felt like living in a slow-motion storm, the kind where everything around you moves fast, but you're frozen in the eye of it, trying to hold your ground. Rasheeda was focused. Sharper than ever. But behind that steely focus was a heartbreak that no camera could truly capture. Filing a paternity suit and investigating fraud wasn't just about Kirk or Jasmine anymore. It was about reclaiming every ounce of power that had been taken from her, chipped away, over years of betrayal wrapped in false apologies, and this time, she wasn't just playing for dignity, she was playing for legacy. The court process moved quickly, faster than even Rasheeda expected. Her legal team dug deep. They uncovered hidden expenses linked to shell accounts, more wires, tied to Jasmine, and at least one property Kirk had allegedly put in someone else's name. And that wasn't the worst of it. Jasmine's consulting firm. It had been funded not just with money from Rasheeda's businesses, but from loans Kirk had taken out, using both of their names. Rasheeda was livid. He used my name to bankroll her dream, she muttered to her attorney. He didn't just betray me, he dragged me into it. Meanwhile, Jasmine kept posting subtle jabs on social media. Ultrasound photos. Captions like when God gives you second chances. And even a picture of her wearing a necklace fans immediately recognized as one Rasheeda had posted months ago. One Kirk had bought her on their anniversary. It was calculated. It was venomous and it was working. Fans were spiraling. Pages like The Shade Room and Hollywood Unlocked covered every update like it was the OJ trial. Comment sections were flooded. This man got another baby. Rasheeda needs to sue both of them. This is a crime against love. Then came the courtroom moment that felt like a scene out of a scripted soap, only it wasn't scripted. Jasmine sat on one side, visibly pregnant now, her lawyers stiff and overly confident. Kirk sat on the other side, flanked by a team that looked more like damage control than legal defense. Rasheeda walked in last, tailored, poised, every inch the queen she was, and did not look at either of them. Not once. When the judge asked why she was requesting a fraud audit in addition to the paternity test, Rasheeda stood. Because I believe my husband used our shared assets to finance another life with the woman he cheated on me with again, she said calmly. And I believe I have a right to protect my name, my brand, and my future from that kind of deceit. You could hear a pin drop. Even Jasmine looked rattled. Later that day, Rasheeda's team released a short statement. This is not revenge. This is not drama. This is protection. For my children. For my businesses, and for my peace. But while the legal battle was unfolding, something else was happening, something even Rasheeda didn't see coming. Her mother, Miss Shirlene, known for her tell-it-like-it-is attitude and fiercely protective nature, had been staying quiet through the chaos. But one night, during a dinner with Rasheeda and the boys, she finally broke her silence. I kept my mouth shut, because I knew you had to fight your own battle, she said, voice thick with emotion. But baby, I don't ever want to see you hurt like this again. You fought too long, you gave too much. You've been a wife, a mother, a businesswoman, and a warrior. But now it's time to just be Rasheeda. Those words struck her harder than anything Jasmine had ever said or Kirk had ever done. Because they were true. Rasheeda had lived in battle mode for so long, she forgot what it felt like to just be loved, be at peace, be herself. The very next morning, she made her final decision. She sat down with Kirk in the coldest room in the house, the office. The same place they signed their original LLC papers. The same place they once dreamed about building an empire. I want a separation, she said. Kirk's face dropped. Rasheeda, please. No, listen to me, she said, holding her hand up. You broke more than just my heart this time. You broke trust. You broke peace. And I'm not going to let my boys grow up thinking this is what love looks like. Kirk begged, he cried, he promised therapy again. Redemption. Repentance. But Rasheeda had heard it all before. I don't hate you, she said softly. But I can't save you anymore. And I won't drown just because you don't know how to swim. Word of the separation hit the blogs within hours. Rasheeda finally walks away. One headline read, Kirk loses it all, another declared. And while some fans were stunned, most were cheering. We've been waiting for this moment. About time the queen reclaimed her throne. Sis, we stand with you. And Rasheeda. She didn't hide. She thrived. She launched a limited clothing line titled Unbreakable, with pieces featuring powerful phrases like loyal, not blind, and queen without a crown still rules. The collection sold out in 24 hours. Kirk, meanwhile, tried to post a selfie with the caption, "Working on myself." The comments were savage. Should have worked on loyalty. Too little, too late. Self-help ain't cheap proof. But the final twist. The DNA results came in and Jasmine's baby wasn't Kirk's. Yep, you heard that right. Was not? Kirk wasn't the father. The news spread like wildfire. Jasmine deleted her Instagram. Kirk's lawyer issued a statement of relief. But Rasheeda, she stayed silent. Until one final post. A photo of her standing in front of Prest, wearing all white, looking straight into the camera. The caption, "Sometimes the biggest blessings come wrapped in betrayal. I gave him everything. But now, I give myself everything." The story ends here, and the healing begins. And just like that, the queen didn't just rise, she reigned. The fallout was instant. Jasmine vanished from public view like a storm that had finally lost its wind. Her Instagram, gone. Her consulting business, suspended. Rumors swirled that she left Atlanta entirely, running from the backlash, the humiliation, and most of all, the truth. She had gambled everything on a lie. A second baby scandal that was supposed to break Rasheeda's throne had only ended up solidifying it in titanium. Because now, the world knew what Rasheeda had known in her gut from day one. Something didn't feel right, and she was done second-guessing herself for a man who had taught her to doubt her own instincts. As for Kirk, he was a ghost in his own life. The paternity test should have been his saving grace, the one thing that could have redeemed a sliver of his image. But instead, it only painted him as the fool who nearly destroyed his family for a child that wasn't even his. Friends close to him said he fell into a deep depression, that he barely left the house, that his phone had become a graveyard of unread messages and missed calls. But Rasheeda, she was booked, blessed, and busy. She took the fire meant to burn her down, and turned it into a spotlight. Prest opened its third location, this time in Houston. The launch party was packed. Celebs came out in droves. Tiny Toya Yandi, even Mary J. Blige made a surprise appearance. But it wasn't just a store opening, it was a rebirth. Rasheeda walked the pink carpet in a custom crimson jumpsuit and black shades, oozing the energy of a woman who had tasted rock bottom and spit it out like bitter wine. When asked by the Shade Room if she had any words for Jasmine or Kirk, she smiled. "I don't speak on the past anymore," she said. "I'm too busy building my future." But just when the world thought the saga had closed, Kirk made one last, desperate move. A video appeared online, clearly not meant for public release. A personal vlog-style clip of Kirk sitting in what looked like Rasheeda's old beauty studio. In it, he confessed everything. "I never stopped loving her. I didn't know how to be enough for someone like her. She loved me at my worst. I gave her my worst. And she still stayed. Until she couldn't anymore." The clip went viral within hours. It was raw. It was heartbreaking. And for some, it was too little too late. But for others, it was the closure they'd waited years for. Rasheeda's response. A single repost with no caption. Just the broken heart emoji. That was the first and last time she acknowledged the video. Behind the scenes though, something deeper was unfolding. Rasheeda was writing again. Not for the show, not for music, but for herself. A memoir. One that she later confirmed was in the works. "I never thought I'd tell my story like this," she said in an exclusive with Essence. "But women need to hear it. They need to know that strength doesn't mean silence, that loyalty doesn't mean self-sacrifice, and that love doesn't mean staying when it's killing you." The book, titled Queen Without Permission, became one of the most pre-ordered reality star memoirs of the decade. In it, Rasheeda detailed everything: the betrayal, the healing, the children caught in between. The long nights wondering why her best was never enough for a man she gave her entire soul to. But it wasn't just a revenge book. It was a blueprint for survival, for rebirth, and for taking your crown back after it's been tossed in the dirt. Fans began to mirror her strength. Women across the country started using the hashtag I am Rasheeda to tell their own stories of heartbreak and healing. She sparked a movement she never meant to start, a revolution of self-worth wrapped in lipstick and lace fronts, and Rasheeda. She embraced it. Eventually, even the kids saw the change. Kai, once too young to understand the fractures in his home, asked her one night at dinner, "Are you happier now?" She paused, put her fork down, and looked him in the eyes. "Yes, baby, I am. I miss what we had. But I love what I'm becoming." As for Kirk, he faded more and more into the background. Some say he's trying to rebuild, working quietly behind the scenes. Others claim he's attempting to be a better father, staying consistent with the kids. But Rasheeda made it clear, healing doesn't mean returning to the one who broke you. It means choosing peace, even if it comes alone. And so, the story that began with betrayal, spiraled through chaos, and crashed into heartbreak ended with transformation. Rasheeda didn't just survive, she ascended. She proved that love may build you, but loss can define you in the most powerful way possible. And for anyone watching from the sidelines thinking she'd fall again, Rasheeda left them with just one line in her final confessional of the season: "I gave him everything, and he gave me Jasmine. But what he didn't realize, Jasmine gave me me." And that was the real twist no one saw coming. So there you have it, the saga no one expected, the confession that broke the internet, and the woman who turned her deepest betrayal into her greatest rebirth. Rasheeda's journey wasn't just another reality TV storyline. It became a movement, a masterclass in resilience, a testament to what happens when a woman refuses to be broken, even by the same hands she once held in love. From the explosive reveal of Jasmine's return to the shocking courtroom bombshells and that final DNA twist no one saw coming, every step of this story kept fans hooked, hurting, and healing right alongside her. And now, as Rasheeda steps into a new era, no longer as Kirk's wife, but as Rasheeda, the brand, the mother, the survivor, the queen, the world is watching with nothing but respect and awe. But here's the question we have to ask you now. Do you think Kirk deserves another chance? Should Rasheeda forgive, forget, and try again, or has this betrayal sealed their fate for good? And what about Jasmine? Was she a master manipulator from the start? Or just another broken woman caught in the storm of a man who couldn't stay loyal? We want to hear everything. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't hold back. Team Rasheeda, team they deserve each other, or team throw them both away. And don't forget, if this story had you glued from beginning to end, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss another bombshell moment. Because if there's one thing we know about love and hip-hop legends, it's that the drama never truly ends, it just waits for the next season. Until then, stay bold, stay loud, and never apologize for choosing yourself.